good evening, and welcome back to this channel for another broadcast. Welcome to those that are here now and those that may catch the replay. This is going to be a sensitive topic to many, so I will be putting up my disclaimers and also leaving the link for those of you who would like to speak on this. This is a no judgment zone, and everyone is welcome to voice their opinions on this particular story. Hi there, Maritza, how are you? And I do hope that people will be willing, at least if not coming up to speak, at least leaving your comments in the comment section. This is not so much religious in nature, I would say spiritual, because I'm not a religious person. However, I do believe in a creator, and I want to engage everyone in this particular topic. And the story is Pastor Bubba Copeland apparently deleted himself after photos were shown of him leading a double life. Now, before I go forward, let me be prudent and absolutely responsible by putting up my disclaimers. First is the Fair Use Act. Of course, under Section 107 of the Copyright Act of 1976, which states, allowance is made for the fair use of copyrighted material for the purposes of commentary, criticism, news reporting, research, education, teaching, and or scholarship. It provides for the legal, non-licensed citation and or incorporation of copyrighted material by others, which might be infringing under other circumstances, and most importantly for this broadcast, viewer discretion disclaimer. The following broadcast contains absolutely mature themes and situations intended for adults. Viewer discretion is advised. Again, Pastor Bubba Copeland, also mayor of a small town in Alabama, reportedly, and again, I implore you always to do your own research, apparently took his own life after photos emerged of him allegedly wearing women's clothing. And I am doing well. How are you? Miracle, Hope, Truth International Ministry. Your thoughts on this thumbnail before I go any further. A pastor leaving a double life, allegedly transgender. Let me go further into the story, and I'll attempt to share a couple of videos. Again, Maritza, I know that you too are a believer, as well as Miracle, Hope, Full Truth International. So I would think the two of you would have comments in reference to this story, and anyone else that may come in or catch the replay. Again, the link is here, and those of you that are creators or believing in the creator, you definitely should have some thoughts on this. So, without further delay, a small town Alabama mayor apparently passed away just days after a conservative news site published photos of him allegedly wearing women's clothes and makeup, officials said on Sunday. Smith Station's mayor, FL, nicknamed Bubba Copeland, who was also a pastor at First Baptist Church of Phoenix City, fatally deleted himself and was pronounced at 5:01 p.m. on Friday, according to Lee County Coroner Daniel Sexton, who spoke with NBC News in a statement. This can be found on NBCnews.com. Again, this can be found on NBCnews.com. An autopsy was scheduled for Monday. Anyone that is in here right now have any thoughts on what I just read? Now further, first and foremost, and this is according to a statement released by the First Baptist Church, we ask that you keep Pastor Bubba Copeland's family in your prayers today and in the days ahead. Bubba Copeland passed away 2 days after the 1819 News published a story with photos of the mayor donning women's clothes and makeup. Further, it is sad and disgusting how he was treated. Again, these are words from the church. It was sad and disgusting how he was treated by 1819 News. And this comes from former U.S. Senator Doug Jones, a Democrat from Alabama, in a statement on Saturday. And Senator Doug Jones followed up with, "We live in a mean, bitter world where the self-righteous tend to throw the largest stones." So again, Pastor Bubba Copeland apparently, allegedly, took his own life after, for all intents and purposes, being outed as transgender. Your thoughts and opinions on this particular story. And before I go any further, Maritza says it's just sad. So is it sad because he felt as though he needed to take his own life? Or is it sad that he felt as though he needed to cover this alleged lifestyle? Again, the link is there, and I'm going to attempt to share the screen for 2 short videos. Again, fair use, but it has me question, should it matter what type of lives we live, or those that are men and or women of the cloth? Should it matter what they do behind closed doors? That's the question for now. But until then, let me attempt to share this. And again, those of you that are into the word, and quite a few are, I'm curious to know your thoughts. And again, you're welcome. You're encouraged to speak on this. Hopefully I won't run into the issues that I did yesterday. And I'm making sure that I am close to the router. Again, this is fair use. Hopefully everyone is able to hear and see the screen.
Of an internet attack, an article that was written about my capacity as the mayor, capacity as a pastor. The article is not who or what I am.
Okay, that was the first video. Again, fair use. And Marissa, as before said, my prayers to his family. Again, any thoughts on his feeling though he had to live a double life? Was it for safety purposes? Was it to hide anything he may have felt guilty about? Your thoughts and feelings on that. And again, that's for those that may be in the chat or those that may catch the replay. And this is going to be the second video. Again, fair use. And this was when Pastor Bubba Copeland was inducted into the CVCC Hall of Fame. Fair use.
Smith Station Mayor F.L. Bubba Copeland wasn't sure exactly where he wanted to end up after graduation, but he knew he wanted to attend college. After competing in a drama competition where he recited Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.'s I Have a Dream speech, he received a scholarship from Chattahoochee Valley Community College.
I went to Chattahoochee Valley Community College on a drama scholarship in that period of time. And it was an opportunity for me to grow as myself, and we had some wonderful productions. We did a lot of productions in the children's theater around the schools, around the area.
Copeland graduated from CVCC in 1994 with an associate degree in business. He attended Auburn University and studied hotel and restaurant management. In addition to his role as mayor, he serves as minister of First Baptist Church in Phoenix City, and owner and operator of his business, the Country Market in Salem, Alabama.
Well, my family's been in the grocery business my entire life. And so I knew that I wanted to be in business. And then so I went into the grocery business. And so some of my business classes ultimately helped me in that direction.
Copeland says his experience at CVCC helped lay a good foundation for his success. His relationship with instructors and staff members made all the difference.
When I didn't understand an equation, they would be there. If I had an issue that I could not be there, they would help me work through the issue. It was a one-on-one relationship.
Mayor Copeland is the kind of man who rolls up his sleeves and gets to work. This was most evident in the aftermath of the devastating tornadoes that hit his hometown and surrounding areas in March of 2019.
It was overwhelming. There's no book, there's no training, there's no thing that you could ever seeing your life that you go through. Before, we were literally digging people out of homes. Homes were gone. Volunteers come from all over the United States. It was a life-changing event, but I'm so thankful that I was able to go through it because it made me stronger, and it also showed me the resilience in the human spirit.
That spirit is what left the greatest impression on Mayor Copeland. The East Alabama Chamber of Commerce recognized him Individual of the Year for his leadership during the crisis. But he says the award is not his alone.
We had a little over 4,000 volunteers at Smith Station. We had people that spent the night in tents. We had people spent the night in cars, under cars. The whole area was completely saturated with volunteers. Not wanting any money, just wanting, what can I do to help?
As a man of faith, Copeland says he knows the volunteers were a blessing from God and that there were lessons to be learned from the tragedies of the tornadoes.
I want to challenge you to remember, we're not as divided as people think. And it's our responsibility to go above and beyond as human beings to love one another. And if we can love one another, this world will be a lot better place.
Hey there. The link is there. Again, I encourage you all to provide your thoughts on this mayor and pastor who took his life. Hey there, member Black Edits. Big Dog Philly, how are you? Who took his life after being outed as being transgender. Again, this is a no judgment platform, and I would truly like to get your thoughts on this story. And again, for those of you just getting in, Mayor and Pastor Bubba Copeland. And I'll put the photo back up. And the link is there if anyone would like to discuss their thoughts on this. Private life was exposed on Wednesday by the conservative blog entitled 1819 News that exposed the life of Smith Station's mayor and pastor, F.L. Bubba Copeland, as a transgender, curvy girl. And also, it released that allegedly, Bubba Copeland stated, it's a hobby I do to relieve stress. Again, a hobby to relieve stress. Let me see what these two comments are before I go on with the remainder of the article. Black Edit says, this is new to me. It may be for many. And thank you, Miracle Hope. And I'll pin this and read it. The book of Timothy 4-1-3. Now the Spirit speaks expressly that in the later times some will depart the faith, giving heed to seducing spirits and doctrines of devils. I'm really surprised Maritza hasn't said anything other than condolences to the family. I know you are deep in the word. I'm not sure if you just came by to say hello, but I would think you'd have more to say on this. And Black Edit says, So, Black Edit since you're just coming in, the picture that you see on the screen is that allegedly of the same individual, Alabama pastor Bubba Copeland, also mayor, who allegedly took his own life after photos allegedly were leaked of him wearing women's clothing and makeup. And if you need for me to show the video again, I most certainly can do that. And again, I will read the comment from Miracle Hope Full Truth International Ministry. The book of 1 Timothy 4:1-3. Now the Spirit speaks expressly that in later times some will depart from the faith, giving heed to seducing spirits and doctrines of devils. So that comment there, is it that the late pastor Bubba Copeland departed from his faith? Did he fall weak to what Miracle Hope has described as seducing spirits and doctrines of devils? And while you all ponder on that, let me share that screen again, and welcome again to the members that have come in. Hi there, member Edna's blog. We are speaking about this pastor, this Alabama pastor, Bubba Copeland, who allegedly was living a double life. Allegedly transgender. And again, I have no judgment on anyone. There are some that are truly spiritual, and there are some deep in their religion. And I'm just gauging right now your thoughts on this. Do you think that there are many men and or women of the cloth who feel as though they need to hide their true lives because of public scrutiny? Or are there some who choose not to be transparent for perhaps selfish reasons or reasons that may be deemed unscrupulous? Your thoughts while I go back to the videos. And thank you to everyone that's come in. And Miracle Hope Full Truth International Ministry says Jesus is coming soon. And are you saying that, Miracle Hope, because of this story or because of all of the stories that we may see that involve men and or women of the cloth? I'll leave this comment up for anyone who may have other comments on this particular story and any comments thus far during this broadcast. One moment, please, and thank you. Member Edna's blog says, hello everyone, just passed by ready for bed. My friend, I wish I could stay, but my time, oh my goodness. Good night, Edna, and thank you so much for coming by. You have a good night, and I will see and or hear from you, God willing, tomorrow. And Miracle Hope, Full Truth International Ministry says all of the above. So those of you just getting in here, and perhaps will catch the replay, here is the video again. Again, this is fair use on the Alabama preacher, Bubba Copeland.
An article that was written about my capacity as a mayor, capacity as a pastor. The article is not who or what I am.
And that was a video again. Thank you, Miracle Hope, Full Truth International, for your contributions during this broadcast. So again, I have shown both of the videos in reference to this story. And my questions again are simply, was this, as the late Pastor Bubba Copeland stated, a harmless hobby? Or could it be deemed as deception to his following? Did the publication who quote unquote outed him think of the consequences that may have occurred once this double life was exposed? Thank you, Big Dog, Philly OG. I'm going to drop this again for anyone who would like to speak on the double life of those in the church, those politicians. Big Dog, I know you speak about religion and churches, things of that nature, and you absolutely do not have to come up if you don't want to. But if you would like to leave a comment as to what you think about this pastor and mayor who took his life after being outed for being transgender. Again, this is all alleged. You as well, Miracle Hope, Full Truth International. Hello there, all heart, grits, and grind. Long time, but glad you came by. Your thoughts. And again, I'm going to drop this again. Now, some of you don't mind hitting these links when you all are talking about one another and beefing, but this is, to me, a serious situation. A man took his life, a pastor and a mayor, because he was outed for allegedly living a double life. That double life being transgender. So your thoughts on that. Should it matter? Your preference, what you identify as. If you are a man and or a woman of the cloth, if you are a politician. Hello there, Mo Naga. Haven't seen you around before, but welcome. And again, your thoughts. All heart, grit, and grind. I see some smiling faces. Your thoughts on Pastor Bubba Copeland. Again, outed for living a double life, allegedly as a transgender. He was both a mayor and politician. Also to note, he was married and a father of 3. Your thoughts on that? Married, a father of 3, a pastor and mayor who allegedly, and this again can be found on NBC News, took his life after being outed by a news publication called 1819. And All Heart, Grit, and Grind says, I was laughing about what you said about people hitting links when talking about one another. Yes, we see that rampant. And again, I understand completely. And I'll see if anyone has anything they would like to add or any thoughts to some of the questions that I've posed. Was it a big deal about the life he chose to live outside of the politician's office, outside of being in the church doors? Is it any of our business what people do behind closed doors? Or is it deception? I'll give those who are in here a chance to ponder on that. And I do hope that some of you will leave comments as to what your feelings on this may be and the questions I just posed. Again, those that are just coming in, Alabama Pastor Bubba Copeland allegedly took his own life after being outed for living a double life that included being transgender. And All Heart, Grit, and Grind says, so sad. This is news to me. And All Heart, Grit, and Grind says, practice what you preach. So, All Heart, Grit, and Grind, not putting you on a hot chair, but when you say practice what you preach, do you mean as it relates to the Bible? Because earlier, and I'll pen this again, Miracle Hope, Full Truth International Ministry says the book of 1 Timothy 4, 1, 3 states, now the Spirit speaks expressly that in later times some will depart from the faith, giving heed to seducing spirits and the doctrines of devils. Again, hey there, Big Dog Billy. I'll read it one more time. The book of Timothy 4 1 3. Now the Spirit speaks expressly that in the later times some will depart from the faith, giving heed to seducing spirits and the doctrines of devils. And I'll get back over, and everyone, welcome, Big Dog Philly OG.
Yes, ma'am. Much love and respect, as Eyes TV, everybody in the chat. This is sad and mind blowing. It's sad and mind blowing. The double life that some of our people are living. You know, uh, I'm normally very how can I put it? Vocal about situations. And you know how I feel about religion. You know, uh, I'm glad you bring this information because a lot of our people don't understand that's a mental illness. You know what I mean? That they ain't addressing. But I'm gonna just tap in, and if you have any questions, I answer. But much respect, and I appreciate you putting the link in the chat. Always respect.
Absolutely, and Big Dog Philly OG, absolutely. I know exactly how strongly you feel about religion, so you speak with as much passion as you need to use. Again, there are some people, and again, this is no judgment here, but we have people from different sides, different thoughts, but I know how you feel, so again, please speak what's on your heart. And again, thank you so much. Deja Vu, welcome and thank you.
And real quick, the key point, that's should be pointed out, uh, is what the gentleman said. What we do in our bedroom should be private. You know what I mean? I agree with that, but that's about it. But go ahead, finish your finish your thing, sister.
Oh, I'm actually finished with my statement. I wanted to hear exactly how you feel as far as religion. My questions basically were, should we be concerned with what these politicians and pastors do behind closed doors if they're providing the services for the oaths that we took, and for those who feel as though this was completely wrong and he may have been deceptive? And I am not saying this at all. Should everyone that is a man or woman of the cloth or a politician should be policed? I mean, these are questions I think that are completely viable if you're going to look at this man for that. And could it have been a witch hunt? Your thought on that?
You know, like I mentioned earlier, what happens in the bedroom is supposed to be private. You know what I mean? But I just, that their lifestyle I don't agree with. I'm a firm believer in family first. You know, no secrets. You know, they should be held responsible for the positions and the oaths they took. But I look at it, all of the politicians and government is corrupt. So, they're just taking advantage of the people, and it all needs to be exposed.
So, do you feel as though that the publication, which was considered a right wing publication, did the right thing in exposing this? And do you think they may have thought about the possible consequences this may have caused? Do you think they, or the thought was, well, maybe if we expose him, he will give up his mayor's seat or his place in the church? Do you think that they had any inkling that he would have gone so far as allegedly taking his own life? And in your opinion, do you believe
Uh,
we have plenty of other Pastor Bubba Copelands in and around all of us?
yes, ma'am. I believe there's plenty of them that's in the politician world that's living that double life. And I don't think they was wrong for exposing them because the taxpayers need to know what their politicians and what these uh, people in that being put in positions and in the limelight is doing. And like you said, he was a mayor, so he need to be accountable for his actions.
Okay, so when you say accountable, what other means do you think could have sufficed his being accountable outside of being outed? Do you believe that we are now or have been in the culture of outing people?
Uh, that's a good question. Like I said earlier, he's in a political situation and political position. So I don't think you know he should have committed suicide, but I think his job should have been up for review.
And is that based directly on lifestyle? Because the part that, and again, I have no judgment on anyone. I do believe, and I've said this before, what people do behind closed doors is what they do behind closed doors. But I'm just wondering, and anyone can chime in either now or later, do you think there was possibly any type of deception? Because again, I'm not 100% clear and have a good understanding on this particular lifestyle. Apparently, from the article I read, that he did it as a hobby to relieve stress. But to me, this gentleman was married and a father of 3 children. Do you think possibly there was deception in the home and with his constituents and those that were members of his congregation?
Yeah, I believe that there was deception in the home, and that's not good. I think a lot of these religious people is living this lifestyle, and they know it ain't right. And I think their conscience is really beating them down.
So when you say conscience, is it possible for those that believe in spirits? Do you think, and again, these are all just opinions, that this was a spirit that unfortunately took over, meaning took over to the point where he felt as though he had to take his own life, even though he was a mayor, even though he was a beloved pastor, as you could see from the videos. And not only that, a husband and father. That was a question for you, Big Dog, if you're still there.
That was a big question. Can you break it down one more time, please?
I'll try to. I have a eccentric mind. So my question was, and I'll break it down. Number one, many people say that certain things are spirits, such as alcohol, some say drugs, some say certain lifestyles or spirits. Do you believe this particular lifestyle was a spirit, perhaps so strong
No,
that
no, ma'am.
you do not?
No, ma'am. I think it's just thoughts. You know, all of these racism. I'm trying to be careful with my words. The homosexuality. That's all decisions or lifestyles that we were taught. You know, I don't believe in the spirit thing. You know, unless you know his thoughts. You know what I mean? I don't. I just don't believe in the spirit thing and the blaming it
Okay,
on the spirits.
okay, I understand that. There are some people I believe that will echo that sentiment, and there may be some that may not agree. Hey there, Priya, how are you? So, um, that being the case, not thinking that this is a spirit, it's a choice. How, and I'm trying to be careful with my words as well, because again, I don't judge anyone's choices, but I do know this in the area of politics that there are people that live a certain way because they have to in front of the eyes of the public. And again, the biggest thing that comes to mind for me in this particular situation, and we've seen it many, many times, was it deception, and could it possibly have gone on for years? And if that's the case, because we've seen it with so many people in the public eye, again, politicians, pastors, we've seen many stories of pastors as of late coming out living double lives, but some of these double lives include other women. But as far as being transgender, again, how much should we look into this? Or should we be looking at this lifestyle he decided?
You know, I think there definitely was deception because he was a married with children. You know, and I more than likely I don't think his wife knew about this, or they probably would have been divorced. So it is deception, and any deception. I don't know very much deception that's good. Most deception is bad. So you know,
Absolutely. Well, let me stop
yes,
you right there, big dog, Billy, and ask you, because you said you didn't think his wife knew. Now, I definitely have lived with someone, and despite different schedules, again, I could be wrong, and if I am, please correct me. But how is it possible, unless you have 100% faith, and we're supposed to, that there have been no clues left behind that something may be off? I mean, being transgender, and again, I don't know a whole lot about that, but if you are wearing allegedly makeup or women's clothing, unless you are the same size as your spouse, how do you hide that? Do you hide it in vehicles? Do you hide it in the office? Do you hide it at the church? How do you hide things?
like I'm gonna say this, like this kind of hits home, except for the the murder part. You know, my brother, my older brother, may he rest in peace. You know, same situation. He was a pastor, and he was a social worker. And during the day he was a pastor. At night he did the same thing Bubba did. You know, and I've seen this growing up, and that's what made me really stick to the family values. You know, because I didn't want to be nothing like my brother. I loved him, but I didn't want to be nothing like him. You know, so sad, but it's happening a lot in our community, and it needs to be addressed.
I'm really sorry what happened with your brother, and my condolences. Did you ever have that conversation?
Before he died, kind of, but you know, like the same situation. My brother was married, had a wife, had two kids. You know, he just, you know, he died of of AIDS, and you know, so it's like same situation.
Oh my goodness, I didn't know that. And again, my condolences. So you said he passed away from the acquired immunodeficiency syndrome, and
Yes,
his
man.
wife had no idea.
I think she did, and at the end, but not the beginning part, because you know his lifestyle caught up to him, and basically, it came out in the public. But like I said, he was a pastor. He had his own congregation, at least 1,000 people, and he was living that double life. And I see a lot of our people, especially the religious ones, living this double life.
Absolutely. The lifestyles I see mostly are these lavish lifestyles, but and also the extramarital affairs, but rarely do I see. And obviously, this is a lesson that these type of lifestyles absolutely are there. Uh, this is one of a few that I know of. So you said that he had a congregation of over 1,000.
Yes, ma'am. My brother, and my brother died almost 20 years ago.
Wow. And no one had any inkling.
Not to the end. You know, it's a wild situation. Like, uh, I don't think too many people knew. To like, my brother was addicted to crack. Also, he was a he, pastor that smoked crack, that dressed up as a transgender. You know, at the end, when basically, you know, he had somebody had to jump out of his windows to get out of the house. That's when we knew what he was doing and the lifestyle. But for a lot of years, he covered it up as a happily married family man.
That is really, really, oh my gosh. That's really amazing that he was able to do that long. So let me ask you, did he truly have a love for the creator, and did he believe in the scriptures from which he taught, and just unfortunately had this other lifestyle? And may not, well, maybe not unfortunately, but maybe this is again something that he had.
I can't really say his belief. You know what I mean? All I know that is that I experienced it. You know, through my brother. That, and like I said, it made me want to be nothing like him. You know, and do the opposite things that he did. So I can't really talk about his faith. You know, it's hard to, because you never know what's in somebody's heart. But
Absolutely. And that is the concerning part with me. Again, there are a lot of people who are believers. There are some who are non believers, and incidents such as these and others that have nothing to do with what someone may identify with that has that has actually been the driving forces as to why many have decided to no longer attend church, because they may see some of these things as fallacies or a front just to make those who are in lead of the flock more wealthier, for lack of a better term.
For me, I practiced Islam for a lot of years, and once I did my research and connected the church and the state, and with along with the education system, it was easy for me to denounce all religion because I did the work. I basically, once you connect the church and the state, and realize you can go to just about certain universities and to get a degree in theology. I seen that it was all, mythology, and I did my research and seen, mythology and folklore is the same thing. Then once they have to admit that it's all based on a belief system, nothing factual. You see the corruptness of all these religions. And like I said, religion is $1 trillion business that, our people just don't understand. It's business. It ain't nothing personal. It's
Yeah.
business. They using religion to control people.
Now, that I will say I have noticed, which is really bizarre to me, at least in the DC area, and those that travel to DC will absolutely concur, especially in the inner city. On most corners, you will have a church, and beside the church, you may have a liquor store. Many of those people coming out of those liquor stores are not going in to those churches, and you have thousands, thousands that attend those churches. So you are absolutely 100% correct in the amount of money that these churches bring in. And keep in mind the taxes, the write offs, and what is collected. It's beyond it's beyond belief from what I've seen personally. I was finished with my thought. If you had anything else you wanted to add, Big Dog Philly, on this, I'm going to be doing a little bit more research. But again, those of you just coming in, this is Big Dog Philly OG. Make sure you go check this channel out. We're speaking about Pastor, Alabama Pastor Bubba Copeland, who apparently took his own life after being outed for living a double life, that double life being transgender. Bubba Copeland was a politician and a pastor, a husband and father of three. Any final thoughts? Big
No,
Dog
ma'am.
Philly OG.
No, ma'am. Thank you for allowing me up. Always love and respect to you and the family. Everybody have a good night. Thank you again for letting me up.
You as well. Take care, sir. Ladies and gentlemen, that was Big Dog Philly OG. Please make sure, again, you take an opportunity, if you haven't, to please go visit this channel. And again, for those that may catch the replay, your thoughts, unless anyone else, before I close this out, if you have any additional thoughts on the story of, thank you so much again, Big Dog Billy OG. If you have any thoughts or anything you'd like to contribute to this story on the Alabama pastor, Bubba Copeland, who allegedly, apparently, and you may go to NBCnews.com to read the story yourself, but apparently he was outed by a conservative news publication. The news publication, 1819, who allegedly posted photos of Pastor Bubba Copeland and the name of which he used, being a transgender, curvy girl. My opinion is this is extremely sad. It's sad for him. His soul is sad for his constituents, sad for especially his wife, children, friends, and loved ones. And it begs to question if, or not even if, how many other Bubba Copelands do we have in and around us who are in the seats with other politicians who also stand in front of pulpits on Sundays, who are also fathers, who are also husbands, that perhaps have or have been deceiving their wives, deceiving others, and Melly says, my favorite. Thank you, Melly. So again, any final thoughts? The link is there. This is a sad story, but it also should make you think, do you really, truly know a person? Do you truly know who you converse with? A lot of people like to say conversate, but I'm not trying to be anal, but it is converse. Sorry, I'm a writer, so when I see that and hear that, it makes me cringe a little. But do we know with whom we converse with whom we break bread with whom we entrust our children, perhaps our vulnerable adults who are in our homes, but we can't watch them 24/7 because some of us have to work. Can we trust those that we entrust, our loved ones, perhaps our pets, those that we seek to enact laws and legislation, those who are truly spiritual and religious and trust to lay hands, trust to say prayers over us when we're facing calamity. Melly says, pastors deceiving people has been a norm. Member Melly also says, that's why I am somewhat anti-social. And Melly says, exactly, Doe. That's why I live alone. I don't want to beat this horse, if you will, ad nauseum, but when I see stories like this, it truly makes me question. I am truly an empath, but I also, unlike many, even though they say they watch behavior, but I find that somewhat hard to believe because some people allow egregious behavior to continue and they gloss over it for whatever reasons. But stories like this, to me, hurt those who are hurting. And I say that because many people are hurting in many ways. People think that hurt only comes in the form of financial struggles. Hurt can come in to your place of employment, perhaps your home life, perhaps illness, perhaps issues with business partners or business deals that have gone left because you found that the person with whom you've decided to do business with has betrayed you. Betrayal. Betrayal is extremely hurtful, and for many, and I can say that because I'm extremely transparent. It's hard. It's difficult to get past once you've been betrayed. And I've said this many times. You can absolutely, and you should, as a practice, forgive people, but that forgiveness is for you to release that burden. It's the forgetting that can be more difficult. And it may stymie. It may block you going on and perhaps building with someone else because that betrayal is still somewhere lodged in your memory bank. And Priya is still here. Thank you so much, Priya. And member Nellie says, I tried, Doe, but it's hard to give a second chance. Oh, trust me, Melly, it took me a long time. And there are times I actually give third and fourth chances, but slowly I'm going to have to, and this is just for my peace, walk away from that. And I'll liken it to social media. There are people that, how can I say, will come by, they have nothing to offer to the conversation, but they just pop up like someone did earlier, who I know beyond a shadow of a doubt that would speak and give a word daily. And the fact that only a couple of sentences was provided, just said a lot. And that is why that person does not have a wrench here and will never. Again, I truly, even though I may not say anything, I watch behavior. There are people that may stop by and not say anything. They may leave a comment, maybe, but oftentimes, no. Or there are people that have joined my membership, and the only time they may show up is when I'm giving something away. Again, just because I don't say anything doesn't mean I don't see it. You have to live your truth. And please know, I see games a mile away. And I can smile and kiki and caca right along with you. But do not think for 1 second, I don't see the true you. If your words and behavior do not align, that's an automatic red flag. Hey there, W.H. Modesti. You are coming in all the way from Indonesia. So it is Monday there. So happy Monday to you. And thank you for stopping by. But yes, Melly, it is extremely difficult to give second chances, but deep down I do try. And we already know that plenty of people are on some other things. And sometimes you have to be yes, Indonesia, a lot of people that come here are from abroad. And to be honest, Melly, and I said this earlier, the majority of the people that truly support this platform, not all, but the majority, are from abroad. So that says a lot as well. Now, if I were to go in on certain individuals, and before my birthday, God willing, I'm going to tell my story. And I'm going to tell it all. Because a lot of sneaky, underhanded things have been done. And I've let it brew long enough. And again, just because I haven't said anything doesn't mean it hasn't been on my radar. And I have each and every receipt to back it up. So some of you think you are fooling others. You're not fooling anyone. In fact, you are the fools. But that's for another conversation. And no, I don't need to use obscenities, or do I need to be vulgar to get my point across. I don't need to use or act in an egregious manner and then speak on the Lord next, because you can't, in my opinion, serve two. And I see that a lot, and honestly, it makes me ill. There are some people, again, as you heard earlier, that don't believe in religion or spirituality. Again, I judge no one, but I do believe in the Creator because of personal issues, personal things that I know man couldn't have fixed at all. We all are different. We all are individuals. And I think that's the beauty of mankind. And we also have to keep in mind, both here and abroad, there is mass suffering from every level, every level. And instead of trying to understand one another, while some people truly do, there are others that help, in my opinion, shape what we see now. In some people's eyes, as hopelessness. It's sad. It's unfortunate. However, it is a part of the daily for many. I see so much hatred towards, or what can be deemed as hatred or disdain towards others online, where it's really sad. It's really sad. And you can't, how can I put it? You can't make someone react how they choose to react, because their mindset is different. You don't know what may trigger that individual. And sometimes when you continue to poke at an individual, you don't know how they're going to react. Some find it entertaining. Again, if that's your cup of tea, it's your cup of tea. I can't judge you. I'm not going to judge you. But keep in mind, and this is my belief, the same energy that you put out in the universe towards another or a group eventually finds its way back. And the same energy you had when you put it out in the universe, you should not be surprised when and if it comes back in your direction. We have had several celebrities passed within this last week. And we have regular people like you and I that pass every day. Is that not a sign or a wake-up call that our bodies, which are just merely shells, are truly temporary and truly short-lived if you really sit down and think about it? I do not understand, and maybe I'm missing something, how people can wake up with anger, some hatred on their minds first thing in the morning when many don't wake up at all. How some can get in their bed or whatever it is they sleep on with anger and disdain and wondering and plotting how they can be one up on someone. That has to be miserable. I don't see how people can sleep well in doing that. And there's so many other things that one could worry about, or one does worry about. Instead of channeling that negative energy into those thoughts, how beautiful would it be to channel, how can I be a blessing to someone? And again, blessings do not always come in the form of finances. It could be by a mere word. It could be by a mere post. It could be by a mere video. They say laughter is true medicine for the soul. I see that and I get my doses in. But it's not at the expense of others. And again, if that is what some people feel as though they need to do in order for them to feel satisfied, again, have at it. Enjoy yourself. Get your bag. Get your hustle. But remember, again, it is my belief, and I've seen it. What you put out in some shape or form truly returns. And it is also my belief that if you wander and if you stay in a dark place too long, that darkness can rub off and allow your soul to become septic. And before you know it, every fiber of your being becomes dark. and those that follow you, some of them may become dark as well. That is why I'm extremely careful of what and who I allow on this platform, because I do not want anyone that supports this platform to be infected by diseased people. Melly says, Doys, I definitely agree. I've had my share of negative encounters on YouTube, but they don't affect me by no means. Absolutely. When you're on social media, and it is not limited to YouTube, you are at the mercy of those that listen. There are people that may pick at you for no reason whatsoever. Just to pick. You have to decide whether or not you're going to respond or just let them talk. Sometimes people will get tired and eventually go away, while others may continue. But it is up to you to decide how you choose to deal with it. If you truly, in my opinion, have a full, happy life, and people that you know depend on you, and if you are one of substance, irrelevant people should never be able to break what you have already established and what you thrive as you forge ahead to your next goal, in my opinion. And Melly has little hands up, I believe. And Melly says they get mad because they don't get the response they want. That's often with many people. I find that ignoring certain things will make some people more angry. And when people are angry, when people are out of control, that's when they are most vulnerable, and perhaps unbeknownst to them, they've actually passed the baton of power to you. You truly have to know what battles are worth fighting. And sometimes you may not know in the very beginning. Sometimes it takes a while to make that determination. But I find that sometimes ignoring, not responding, and definitely not going into spaces where you know that may upset you or trigger you is something you should not do, in my opinion. There's no purpose because it's not conducive to your growth. And I would think at the ages of 35 and up, and especially if you're 50 or older, you should know that. If something cannot add value to you and your growth, what is the purpose of going backward? And Priya is still here and waving. Sometimes we have to assess and reassess ourselves because nobody is perfect. Trust me, I am not. I am still truly a work in progress, but I can say I am nowhere near what I was 5 years ago. And even with the obstacles I still face, and we all have our own obstacles, I try to make sure that my words align with my behavior. Am I successful? Not all of the time. I strive to be, but I'm not. And it's okay. At least I'm making the concerted effort to try to be a better person. So I am at the hour and 35 mark. Hopefully, everyone remember that it is daylight savings time, and hopefully, you've adjusted your clocks so you're not late for any appointments or work. Thank you all that tuned in. Those that catch the replay, please make sure you leave a comment on your thoughts on Pastor and Mayor Bubba Copeland, who allegedly took his own life after being exposed for living a double life. Thank you to all of the members that came in. Thank you again to Big Dog Philly OG, who blessed the panel with his commentary and thoughts. And thank you to everyone who gave this broadcast a thumbs up, and to those that may have shared this as well. With that, enjoy the remainder of your Sunday night, or perhaps again Monday for those listening in from abroad, such as Priya and W.H. Modisti. Until next time, everyone, be safe, be well, and be healthier. Thank you, Black Edits. I appreciate that. Thank you, Member Melly. Thank you to all of the members. Again, make sure your notification bells are on for my birthday live stream in 24 days. It won't be a long stream, just a message. And of course, saying happy birthday to myself, because that is truly a milestone for me. Trust and believe. Good night, everyone. Thank you. Thank you, Black. Everyone take care.